Hello everyone, Matt here and welcome back to Boyographic, the bi-weekly show in which I look at the highs and lows of the Game Boy library. This week we're going to look at a classic that a lot of people regard as one of the best games on the Game Boy. It's Super Mario Land 2, The 6 Golden Coins. It's safe to say a Game Boy collection cannot really be called one without the additional Super Mario Land 2. It is one of the system's biggest selling titles, with over 11 million copies sold worldwide, making it the 5th highest selling game across the Game Boy platform, behind Tetris, the Pokemon titles, and its predecessor Super Mario Land 1. One could argue that this is because it's a handheld Mario title, but despite being helmed by the portable plumber, Super Mario Land 2 and the 6 Golden Coins is one of the greatest games on the system, even if it does have a little trouble with the difficulty slider. Taking place directly after Super Mario Land 1, Mario returns from Sarasa Land having dealt with the evil alien Tatanga, only to find that Mario Land has been placed under a spell by a new enemy called Wario, which was also a big part of Nintendo's ad campaign for the game at the time.
Mario is your enemy.
Of course, we're all familiar with Wario now, but this is actually the first appearance of Mario's rival. Wario was created by the game's director, Hiroji Kiyotaka, as an exaggeration of Mario, because Super Mario Land's design team disliked making a game based around someone else's characters, namely that of Shigeru Miyamoto. He's a means of symbolising the situation that R&D1's team found themselves in. While they had no passion for the company's breadwinner, Wario could be a character of their own. Thus, Wario's name is a portmanteau of Mario and the Japanese word warui, meaning bad, hence Bad Mario. This idea of Bad Mario is something that the team would get to play with in future titles in the Wario Land series, but we'll get to those later. So, upon his return to Mario Land, Mario finds himself locked out of his own castle and must visit 6 different worlds to retrieve 6 golden coins to unlock his castle gates, to duel with his evil doppelganger. The game's 6 worlds offer a lot of variety and can be taken in any order the player chooses. There's Macross Zone, where Mario sees himself shrunken down, Tree Zone, where Mario battles nature, Pumpkin Zone, which has a Halloween vibe to it, Mario Zone, which features a pretty cool construction toy level, and I know what you're thinking, LEGO! But you'd be wrong, it's actually based on a toy Nintendo created in the 1960s called N&B Blocks. See? Not just playing cards and video games. There's also a Space Zone, which is in space, and finally Turtle Zone, which sees Mario diving underwater, through a submarine, and even into the belly of a whale. The level design of this game is fantastically varied, which might account for the game weighing in at over 4 MB, which for an early Game Boy title is freaking huge. For example, it's apparently 8 times larger than Super Mario Land. At the end of each of these worlds, there's a boss fight that gets killed by 3 knocks to the head, and BAM! A golden coin is yours. Once all 6 are collected, it's time to dance with Wario himself. This is where the game takes a surprising difficulty spike. Gone are the bells that allowed you to continue halfway through the level after you die, which would have been a big help here, as traversing the level is difficult enough. After that, there's a host of mini Wario heads to fight, before facing off with our slightly goofy looking antagonist in a fight to the death. Well, kinda. Super Mario Land 2 offers a lot of variety to the series while keeping a lot of the Mario nuances. The classic Mushroom, Fireflower and Starman power-ups return, the Fireflower acting as it does in the NES original this time instead of the Super Power Ball from Super Mario Land 1, and is signified by a feather on Mario's head due to the colour limitations of the Game Boy. Starman can be found throughout the level, but will now also appear once you kill 100 enemies, encouraging you to stomp on all frogs, divers and Jason Voorhees wannabes you can get your little plumber booties on. New to this game, however, is a magical carrot, a power-up that lets you turn Mario into Bunny Mario, who can jump higher and hover in midair by repeatedly tapping the jump button, you know, like a real rabbit. Coins in this outing also serve somewhat of a purpose for a change. By collecting coins in the level, you can enter a series of mini-games that offer different prizes based on how much you spend. Naturally, a 999 coin gamble gives a better prize than the 50 one, and so on. There are also similar bonus games at the end of each level like in Super Mario Land. The player can access these by hitting the lucky bell looking chime dangling at the top of each level's exit. To top it all off, Super Mario Land 2 really does have a pretty impressive score from Kazumi Totaka, the man responsible for scoring Yoshi's Story, Luigi's Mansion, and Animal Crossing, as well as being the voice of Yoshi in the Japanese Nintendo releases. His score for Super Mario Land 2 is one of his earliest, but arguably one of his best. The tunes give ambience to each of the worlds you're playing in, and while a lot of them are riffs on the original Super Mario score, the Space Zone music is among one of my favourite chiptunes on the system. He even manages to do quite a cool star theme, though, to be honest, a screaming cat hitting a hi-hat would be better than the can-can music used in the first Super Mario Land title. All in all, Super Mario Land 2 is a game that, while coated in nostalgia for a lot of people, is worthy of the glowing plinth of Game Boy gaming it currently sits on. While it is by no means perfect, the 6 worlds pose little challenge to the hardened gamer, while in contrast Wario's castle will require a few extra lives to beat, and failing to do so will also see the player lose all their coins and need to essentially start the game over again. The game's bosses all follow the same 3-hit formula, which seems slightly lazy and a step backwards when you consider Super Mario Land attempted to mix things up a little. But as the game exhibits tight platforming action, new interesting enemies, as well as being the introduction of Wario, if you've not already had the pleasure, then please seek out this first party gem. Be warned, because it's a Mario title, sellers will try and charge a premium price for this game, but don't be fooled by this. It's a common title and can be easily obtained in bargain basement prices if you're patient. It's also available in the Nintendo 3DS eShop for those unable to get their hands on a copy. And that brings us to the end of this week's Boyographic, ladies and gentlemen. If you've liked the video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts on the game, and also subscribe to the channel for more Game Boy goodness. You can find us on Twitter at Gameboy, where I find my most recent purchases as well as discussing things with you lovely, lovely people. I'm also the co-host of a podcast called Tom and Matt Attack, which is available on iTunes and Stitcher every Sunday, as well as from tomandmattattack.com. You can also find that on Twitter at TMAcast. Until next week, guys, game on.